Discover the secrets to selecting the perfect productivity app in today's episode, where we dive into practical tips and insider advice to enhance your efficiency and streamline your task. Hi, I'm Mark, and this is the Mr. Productivity Podcast, the show that is dedicated to empowering you to conquer distractions, prioritize effectively, and gain daily clarity. Now, before we begin, let me ask you this question. Are you ready to elevate your life? I'm hoping you answered yes, because I can't hear you because you're just listening, and I recorded this a few days ago. But I want to invite you to join the Productive Life. It's a free email newsletter delivered every Saturday, packed with insights to revamp your daily routine. Each week, I bring you no-nonsense tips to help you live, well, the productive life. With the productive life, you can expect to learn how to exceed your goals, boost your daily hustle, and balance intense work with relaxing downtime. Time is precious, my friend, and my strategies are the key to achieving your dreams. So don't miss out on upgrading your productivity. Subscribe for free at MrProductivity.com, M-I-S-T-E-R, MrProductivity.com, and transform your day every day into a win. All right, let's get started. How to choose a productivity app. Let's talk about what is a productivity app. This is how I defined it. Your calendar, your reminder, or some people call them to-do lists, and your notes. Those three are what I'm talking about when I talk about a productivity app. Let's start with the beginning. First of all, you have to realize there is no such thing as the perfect productivity app. Actually, there's no such thing as a perfect app. We live in a fallen world. There is nothing perfect. You may call things perfect. It was a perfect win. My team beat the other team. There's no such thing as perfection on this planet. When it comes to apps, get it out of your mind right now of searching for that elusive perfect app, because it does not exist. That's the first step. That once you accept that, then we can move on to the next thing, which is every device already comes with productivity apps pre-installed. Every smartphone, every tablet, every laptop, every desktop comes pre-installed with these apps. And I always tell my audiences, I tell my clients, I tell people on social media, and now I'm telling you, use or try to use what you already have. Before you go to the App Store, look to see if what's already on your device will suffice. Now, these are not the greatest apps in the world, but they may work for you. And that's the important thing. Will they work for you? I don't care if they work for your Uncle Bob or your Aunt Stephanie. I care about if they work for you. If you're really decided it's time to get serious about your productivity and you want to start delving into the apps, look at what you already have first. Try them out, not for 5 minutes, not for 5 hours. Try it out for at least 5 days and see if that works for you. If it doesn't, then we go on to the next step. Only if you've already tried what you already have. Don't just skip over this next step because you don't like the icon. That's a pretty dumb reason not to like an app. So the next thing is you need to go ask your friends and your colleagues and the people you work with and maybe your neighbors and say, hey, listen, I'm looking for a calendar app, or I'm looking for a to-do list, or I'm looking for a notes app. What do you use? And they're going to say, oh, I use XYZ. Then ask them why. What is it about the app that you like? Because you don't want someone to say, oh, I use XYZ, and then just go buy the XYZ app if it's a paid app. We'll get to that in just a second. You want to know why they use it. And then ask them, hey, can I look at your app on your phone? I want to see if it works for me. I gotta get a habit of saying okay. I really do. It's a bad habit, but I'm not going to edit this out. I want these podcasts to be raw. Okay? There I go again. Oh, my goodness. So once you ask your friends and colleagues and neighbors and whatnot what they use and why, that's part of your research. The next thing you need to do is go to your app store and look at the reviews. Now, a trick my beautiful, lovely, ever supportive wife has told me, when you're reading reviews, don't just read the 4 and 5 star reviews. This is a great piece of advice. Don't just read the great reviews. Go look at the 1 and 2 stars and find out why they did like the app. Because what if they have a concern that is a concern of yours? If you're only looking at the 4 and 5 star reviews, but you're not looking at the 1 and 2 stars, you may get the app and go, this app stinks. But if you would have read the 1 and 2 star reviews, you might have found that problem. Why did they get bad reviews? Is it cosmetic? Is it function of the app? Is it something that you don't care about? So make sure you're looking at the 4 and 5 and the 1 and 2 star reviews. Next up, go read some reviews online. It's really, really easy in this age to go to the internet and say reviews, calendars, apps, reviews, to-do lists, reviews, notes apps, and read the reviews. You want to make sure that you're getting the most up-to-date articles and reviews. Now, keep in mind, these are people who are just giving you their opinions. They may not agree with you, but you need to get their opinion, especially if they're a productivity specialist, as am I. I would give someone who is in that field more credence than I would someone who's just writing a review because they have to write an article. Make sure the review is not sponsored by somebody. You want to make sure it's an independent, unbiased review. Next, try it out for free. Now, there are paid apps and there are free apps. Now, if it's a free app, you can download it, try it, don't like it, delete it, no big deal. A paid app, well, now you've got a little bit of skin in the game. You're investing some money. But I will tell you this. There's an old saying, you get what you pay for. And when you pay for an app, you're paying for somebody who really cares about that product. A free app, they may not update it regularly, but if you're paying for an app, chances are the developer really cares about what they're doing. And that's really important. They are developers and they have a right to make money. I have no problem shelling out money for apps that are well done. There is a time and a place to pay for an app, but sometimes you can just get an app for free and it work for you. I believe in keeping things simple. If you think that all apps should be free, well, that's another conversation we need to have, because when you go to work, what if your employer said, you know what? I think you should do your work here for free. You'd go, wait a minute. What do you mean I should work for free? You want to get paid, so why don't these developers have a right to get paid? I mean, you're listening to this podcast right now. You're not paying me for it, but it costs money to create a podcast. So think about that. If you're one of these people that thinks all apps should be free, send me a message. Let's have a conversation about this. We can have a very healthy debate on paying developers for their apps. Before I go on, I want to tell you why a lot of the apps are iOS and Mac only, because I was curious. I noticed that Day One, Things 3, Fantastical are iOS and Mac only. So I reached out to developers and I said, look, I'm just curious. Why don't you develop apps for Android and for Windows? And they basically said, because iOS is iOS is iOS, Mac OS is Mac OS is Mac OS, but Android's got so many flavors of operating systems there, they don't want the headache of creating the app. So a lot of apps are iOS and Mac only by choice. Don't get mad at me. That's just what they've chosen to do. When you're an app developer, you can certainly develop an app for any platform you want. It's a free world. They can choose to support whatever platforms they want to support. So that's a little aside. No extra charge for that. What I want to leave you with on this podcast is, number one, don't forget there is no such thing as a perfect app. Any app, productivity or otherwise. So stop looking for it. Number two, start with what you already have on your devices. Start there. That may work for you. Number three, start asking your friends and your colleagues and your neighbors, what do they use and why? Number four, check out the App Store reviews, reading not only the 4 and 5 star, but the 1 and 2 stars to get a full spectrum of reviews. and then try it out. So now that you've had an opportunity to listen to this episode of the Mr. Productivity Podcast, by the way, let me just say I am most thankful that you gave me your time and attention for these last 10 minutes or so. Here's my challenge to you. How do you approach looking for new productivity apps? Do you just take the easy way out and just use whatever is hot, what your friends are using, or do you do some research? I'm really interested. You can hop on over to my website, mrproductivity.com/contact to send me a message, or you can hit me up on social media. I'm on almost every social media platform out there. Just look for Mr. Productivity or Mark STRUCZEWSKI. I know Mr. Productivity is much easier than Mark STRUCZEWSKI, but you can find me at Mr. Productivity over on TikTok and Facebook, but on Twitter, also known as X now, I'm known as Mark STRUCZEWSKI because I don't have enough characters. Anyways, before you go, do me a huge favor. If you have not subscribed, rated, and reviewed the show, if you would do that, that would help the algorithm serve this episode up to other people so I can help you as well. And again, don't forget everything you want to know about me, Mr. Productivity, which is trademarked, by the way. I'm really proud of that. Plus, I spent a lot of money to get that trademark, is over at mrproductivity.com. You can find out about my Productive Life newsletter, my Productive Life community, my blog. You want a little biographic information? It's easier for me to read it than to say biographical information. It's all over there at mrproductivity.com. Thank you so much again for listening to this episode of the Mr. Productivity Podcast. I'll be back with a brand new episode real soon. Until then, stay productive and stay positive.